So law of a person, law of a person, law of a person, law of a person, law of a person. So whenever we talk about a person, who is a person? Who is a person? Yeah, who is a person? Yeah? Is a? Yeah, it can be a human being or it can be an artificial being, okay? So the law recognized person are two categories. We have human being and we have artificial being. Or we have natural person and we have artificial person, who is also known as a legal person, okay? Artificial person is also known as a legal person or a juristic person. We call him a legal person because he's created by law. He's created by law. He's created by law. So let's write something. Let's write something. Law of a person. We say a person. Say a person is an entity. Person is an entity or being. A person is an entity or being recognized by law as having certain rights and obligation, certain rights and obligation. So type of person, we have number one, natural person. And number two, we have artificial. We have or juristic or legal person. Artificial or juristic or legal person. So those are the kind of person the law recognizes. Those are the kind of person the law recognizes. So we start with number one, natural person. Start with number one, natural person. Let's see what right or what obligation that this natural person has, okay? What right or what obligation does this natural person has? So natural person, number one, natural person. Then you say, they are human being created by God. They are human being created by God. They are human being created by God. They are human being created by God with certain defined rights and obligation. With certain defined right and obligation. With certain defined right and obligation. With certain defined right and obligation. Another point. There are various factors affecting natural person. There are various factors affecting natural person as provided by law. There are various factors affecting natural person as provided by law. E.g., we have marriage, comma. We also have adoption, comma. We have domicile, comma. We have nationality, stroke citizenship, nationality stroke citizenship. Then lastly, we have divorce. Lastly, we have divorce, etc. We said there are various aspects affecting natural person as provided by law, e.g. marriage, adoption, domicile, nationality, citizenship, and then divorce. So start A, marriage, 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 marriage. So what does the law state about marriage? To say that it is a union. It is a union between one man and a woman for life. It is a union between one man and a woman for life. So man or man, a woman, and it is a union between one man and a woman for life. It is a union between one man and a woman for life. So type of marriage, the laws recognize type of marriage. Number A, number 1 or Roman 1, we have statutory marriage, statutory stroke Christian stroke civil marriage. Then number 2, we have customary marriage. Roman 3, we have Hindu marriage. Roman 4, we have Islamic marriage. So those are the kind of marriage that are recognized by law. Then down there you also write condition relating to capacity to marry, condition relating to capacity to marry. Number 1, what does the law say about who can marry and who cannot marry? Okay, number 1, the party must be biologically man or a woman. The party must be biologically man or a woman. The party must be biologically man or a woman. The party must be biologically man or a woman. So mambo ya gay sheria itambui hiyo. Is that okay? Yeah, marriage of the same sex sheria itambui, bado constitution yetu hairuhusu vitu kama hizo. Is that okay? Yeah. So number 2, the party must be single. Yeah, usiende kuolewa kama uko kwa ndoa. The party must be single, divorced, widowed and single. Divorced, widowed and single. The party must be single, ujai para kuwa mwanaume, divorced, uliachana, then widowed and single. It means that you are widow and then you are not in marriage somewhere. Is that okay? You are just single, then that's who can also qualify for marriage. Another one, the party must be of age to contract a marriage, i.e. 18 years, at least 18 years. The party must be of age to contract a marriage, i.e. at least 18 years. The party must be of age to contract marriage, i.e. at least 18 years. And then lastly, the parties must not be within the prohibited degree of consanguinity. And kinship. consanguinity and kinship. The party must not be within the prohibited degree of consanguinity and kinship, i.e., a man cannot marry a relative. A man cannot marry a relative. Yeah. Yo tunachia Wahindi. The Indian are the one who are practicing that, okay? But in Kenya, it is not allowed. It is not allowed. So those are the conditions relating to marriage. Those are the conditions relating to marriage. Number B, divorce. Number B, divorce. Number B, divorce. Number B, divorce. Divorce, divorce, divorce. Number B, we are looking at divorce. Number B, divorce. Then you write there, reason for divorce. Reason for divorce. Reason for divorce, or what are the reasons that the law could recognize? If you tell someone I have divorced, are they among the same reason? Number one, if one of the party is guilty of committing adultery, if one of the parties is guilty of committing adultery, you can divorce. If one of the parties is guilty of committing adultery, that's the main reason you can divorce. Number B, if one is not of sound mind, yeah, if one is not of sound mind, if one is not of sound mind, sheria inakuruhusu ufanye nini? You divorce. Sheria allow you to divorce. Then number 3, if one party is guilty of cruelty, yeah, unagongwa gongwa kama mpira. Cruelty, cruelty, cruelty. Yeah, if one party is guilty of cruelty, you can also divorce that person. Sheria inakuruhusu you divorce that person, okay? Then another one, if you have separated for 3 years, if you have separated for 3 years, if you have separated for 3 years, and mark you, it is not there the separation that maybe you came in Nairobi and the other party is far away. You separated, thus there was disagreement between you and your spouse, okay? Then you have stayed, away from each other for 3 years. You can file a divorce and then you can be allowed by law. Is that okay? Yeah. Nullity of marriage, nullity of marriage. What are the reasons now that can nullify marriage? Nullity of marriage. Nullity of marriage. The reason that can nullify marriage, the reason that can nullify marriage under the law, the reason that can nullify marriage under the law, number 1, either party is permanently important. Either party is permanently important. Yeah, hafanyi kazi ya kitanda. Either party is permanently important or incapable of consummating marriage. Consummating. Consummating. Consummating marriage, yeah. That's why if you hear the stories from our grandfather, our grandmothers, if you hear the stories from our grandmothers, you are told that during those times, whenever a girl was going to be married to someone, okay, the grandmother of that girl could go and sleep under the bed that these people are coming to sleep on it, okay? And then there could be just a white sugar to show if the girl is a virgin or not a virgin, okay? But the purpose of that grandmother was not to prove whether the girl is a virgin or not a virgin, but it was to prove that if this man he can perform well on a bed, he's the one who will come up with the report, okay? Yeah, that was the purpose. And this was the law state. If you have a boyfriend who is important, then you can nullify that relationship. Is that okay? Yeah, that's according to the law. Number 2, if you are related or kinship, if you are related of kinship, that marriage can be nullified by law. If you are related or kinship, that marriage can be nullified by law. Wewe ukienda kwa kazini yako na uambie mama yako umeolewa, atakuja na chief, okay? Atakuja na chief kuchukua because sheria iruhusu. Is that okay? Yeah. If you are related or kinship, that marriage can be nullified. Number 2, if one was already married, 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 if one was already married. Number 5, is it 4? Diseases like STI. If one party has diseases like STI diseases, e.g. STI, kuna HIV, kuna hizo diseases zingine, diseases that are related with sexual matters. So if one party has that, that marriage can be nullified. That marriage can be nullified. And then lastly, pregnant not belonging to spouse. Pregnancy not belonging to spouse. That also can nullify unless you agreed, unless you agreed that go and get a kid outside the marriage, then you can live together. But if it is not the matter of agreement, that marriage can be nullified by law automatically. Is that okay? Yeah. Then number C, adoption. So that was divorce. Number C is adoption. 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 So condition for adoption, condition for one to adopt, condition for one to adopt. Right there, condition for one to adopt. Yeah, condition for one to adopt. Number 1, you must be 25 years and above. You must be 25 years and above. Number 1, you must be 25 years and above. Number 2, you should be 21 years older than the child. You should be 21 years older than the child. Should be 21 years older than the child. Then number 3, condition number 3, a sole female cannot adopt a male child. A sole female cannot adopt a male child. A male child, yeah. Wale wanawake wanajikalisha, ama a sole male and vice versa is also true. Wale wanawake wanajikalisha peke yao, you cannot adopt a male child. That's a law, okay? Yeah, that's a law. Whether you are 25 years and above, or you are 21 years older than the child, you cannot adopt a male child. That sheria inakataa. Is that okay? Yeah. Then let's look at the nationality and citizenship. Number D, nationality Nationality and citizenship. Citizenship. Nationality and citizenship. Nationality and citizenship. He's saying nationality and citizenship. Nationality and citizenship refer to person's political allegiance. Person political allegiance. Person political allegiance to some state in return for which nationality and citizenship refer to a person political allegiance to some state in return for which he is accorded protection by that state. In return for which he is accorded protection. He is accorded protection. Accorded protection by that state. For which he is accorded protection by that state. Another point you say, a citizen is a member of a certain country with right and obligation. Is a member of a certain country with right and obligation. A citizen is a member of a certain country with right and obligation. E.g., right to life, right to own property, right to own property, and obligation to pay tax, and obligation to pay tax. So are you citizens? Yes. Do you file a return? Yes. How many file return at the end of the year? Lucy, have you filed yours? So utaenda utajijibu kama you are citizen and you are not citizen, okay? So you can write there, acquisition of citizenship, acquisition of citizenship, acquisition of citizenship. Acquisition of citizenship. And you say it can be acquired in two ways. It can be acquired in two ways. It can be acquired in two ways. Roman 1 by birth and Roman 2 by registration. So start with Roman 1 by birth. By birth. By birth. Citizenship by birth. Citizenship by birth. Citizenship by birth, you say, he or she may acquire it. He or she may acquire it, Roman 1, if either of the parent is Kenyan, whether born in or outside Kenya. If either of the parent is Kenyan, whether born in or outside the Kenya. Roman 2, the citizenship of grandparent of a person is Kenyan. The citizenship of grandparent of a person is Kenyan. He become a Kenyan automatically. Then Roman 3. If a child is found in Kenya who is below 8 years and the parent are not known and the parent nationality is not known. If a child is found who is below 8 years and the parent nationality is not known. Ya mtu alizaa mtoto akatupa. Then he will be assumed to have a citizen by birth. Roman 4. If a person who lost citizenship, because of acquiring citizenship of another country, yeah, remember the great lawyer Miguna, okay? If a person who lost citizenship because of acquiring citizenship of another country can, on application, regain his or her citizenship by birth. Regain his or her citizenship by birth. Then you can write there a subtopic, revocation of citizenship by birth. Revocation of citizenship by birth. Revocation of citizenship by birth. So you say, if it was acquired, Roman 1, if it was acquired by fraud, then Roman 2, the citizenship and parentage of a person become known. The citizenship and parentage of a person become known and reveal that it was from another country. The citizenship and parentage of a person become known and reveal that it was from another country. Then he is denied that citizenship by birth. Another one. The age of the person become known and reveal that he was more than 8 years when citizenship was granted. He was more than 8 years when citizenship was granted. The age of a person become known and reveal that he was more than 8 years when citizenship was granted. When citizenship was granted. And lastly, nationality of the child become known. Nationality of the child become known and is not Kenyan, That also can be granted. Then Roman 2 by registration. Registration, you say, a person may be granted citizenship upon application. If they meet these conditions. Roman 1, a person married to a Kenyan citizen for more than 7 years. A person married for a Kenyan citizen for more than 7 years. Person married for a Kenyan citizen for more than 7 years. A person married to a Kenyan citizen for more than 7 years. Roman 2. A person has been lawfully resident in Kenya for at least 10 years. A person has been lawfully resident in Kenya for at least 10 years. For at least 10 years. A person has been lawfully resident in Kenya for at least 10 years. For at least 10 years. For at least 10 years. Yeah, how many tribes do we have in Kenya now? Yes? Hello, students. How many tribes do you have in Kenya? 40? 45, okay? Yeah, very recently, tutakuwa labda tunaongezeka. Indians have also been added as Kenyan, okay? Because most of them, they have stayed in Kenya for more than 10 years. Wako na maboma zao, wako na nini. Is that okay? They qualify to be Kenyan under the Kenyan constitution, okay? And recently also, tunaona kama tunaongeza pia Chinese hapo. Is that okay? Yeah, we are adding another tribe, Chinese tribe as Kenyan also. Is that okay? Because if you stay in Kenya, you are lawfully hujaipatikana na makosa, you become a Kenyan. You become a Kenyan automatically. So number three, a child who is not a citizen but adopted by a citizen. A child who is not a citizen but adopted by a citizen. A child who is not a citizen but adopted by a citizen. Then revocation for Kenyan citizenship by registration, revocation for Kenyan citizenship. So we say it can be revoked on the following ground. It can be revoked on the following ground. It can be revoked on the following ground. Roman 1. It was acquired by fraud, false representation or concealment of material fact. Concealment of material fact. Concealment of material fact. It was acquired by fraud. It was acquired by fraud, false representation or concealment of material fact. Number 2. A person cooperated. A person cooperated, communicated, person cooperated, communicated, or assisted a Kenyan enemy, or assisted a Kenyan enemy. During the war. During the war. That your citizenship should be revoked. Your citizenship should be revoked, okay? Number 3. Number 3, if you are convicted of treason. If you are convicted of treason. Convicted of treason. Convicted of treason. Convicted of treason. If you are convicted of treason. And number 5. And number 4, I mean not 5. Number 4, I say, number 4, within 5 years of acquiring citizenship by registration, within 5 years of acquiring citizenship by registration, One is convicted of an offense and imprisonment for 8 years or more. One is convicted of an offense and imprisonment for 8 years or more. And imprisonment for 8 years or more. So those are the revocation. Those are revocation under registration of citizenship, okay? Those are revocation under registration of citizenship. So let's look at something else known as number E, domicile. Number E, we are looking at domicile. Number E, we are looking at domicile. So that was nationality and citizenship, number D. Then number E, we are looking at domicile, domicile, domicile. So you say, a person domicile is a place where he permanently resides with an intention to remain. Saying a person domicile is a place where he permanently resides. Permanently reside. Permanently reside and with an intention to stay, with an intention to stay. That's a domicile, that's the meaning of domicile. So type of domicile, type of domicile, type of domicile, type of domicile. So number one, domicile of origin. Number two, domicile of dependence. And number three, we have domicile of choice. Domicile of choice. So under number one, domicile of origin. Domicile of origin. And number one, domicile of origin. You say it is the domicile acquired at birth. It's a domicile acquired at birth. It's a domicile acquired at birth. Then you can write there rules or principle governing domicile of origin. Rules or principle governing domicile of origin. Domicile of origin. We say number one, an infant. Number one, we say an infant born legitimate acquire domicile of the mother at the father. An infant born legitimate acquire domicile of the father. An infant born legitimate acquire domicile of the father, and illegitimate acquire domicile of the mother, and illegitimate infant acquire domicile of the mother. So who is What is the meaning of the word legitimate? Legitimate. Yes? Legitimate and illegitimate. So you have to understand those two words, okay? So that you know. What do we mean when we say that this infant is illegitimate? Yes, Leah? Yeah, legitimate. Legit is not really out of wedlock. Legitimate, baba amemkubali, okay, huyu mtoto wa. Yeah, the father can be traced that this your son, na huyu amemkubali. Illegitimate, yule mama ajui, ako confused, ajui baba mtoto ni nani. So we have such people. Yeah, but mostly they refer that is born outside the wedlock. But in most cases, the mother cannot identify the father of the child, okay? That's the child, we say it is illegitimate because we cannot trace him to the father. So the domicile become for the mother. Is that okay? Yeah, illegitimate become to the mother. Then another one, an infant born after his or her father death, an infant born after his or her father death acquires domicile of the father, as at the date of death, as at the date of death. An infant born after his or her father's death acquire domicile of the father as at the date of death, okay? Yeah, akue before below miezi 9 kabla babake hajazikwa. We are saying an infant born after his or her father's death acquire domicile of the father as at the date of death, okay? Yeah, labda alikufa akiacha akiwa mimba ama lakini asiwe amekufa amemaliza mwaka mmoja, anasema huyu ni mtoto wa fulani. That will acquire domicile of either mother or the mother will tell the father of that kid. Number 3, an infant found without parent is deemed to acquire. An infant found without parent is deemed to acquire the domicile of the country he or she is found. An infant found without parents is deemed to acquire the domicile of the country he or she is found. Another one, an adopted infant acquire domicile of the adopter. An adopted infant acquire domicile of the adopter. An adopted infant acquire domicile of adopter. Acquire domicile of adopter. Number 5, an infant adopted by spouse, an infant adopted by spouse acquire the domicile of the husband. Acquire the domicile of the husband. Acquire the domicile of the husband. Then domicile of dependents. Number 2, domicile of dependent. Number 2, domicile of dependent. Domicile of dependence. You say it's a domicile of a person. It's a domicile of a person who is legally depending on another. It's a domicile of a person who is legally depending on another. Who is legally depending on another. Another point. The domicile changes with that of the other person, e.g., the domicile changes with that of the other person, e.g., Roman 1, domicile of an adopted infant depend on that of adopter. Domicile of adopted infant depend on that of adopter. Then the domicile of an adopted infant by spouse depend on that of the father or the husband. Depend on that of the father or the husband. And lastly, the domicile of a married woman depend on that of a husband. A domicile of a married woman depend on that of a husband. Domicile of a married woman depend on that of a husband. Then Roman 3, domicile of choice. Domicile of choice. Domicile of choice, you say. Domicile of choice, you say. A person chooses to make is where a person chooses to make another country his permanent home. Is where a person chooses to make another country his permanent home. Condition for domicile of choice, condition for domicile of choice, condition for domicile of choice. Number 1, it take up actual residence in the country of the choice. It take up the actual residence of the person, actual residence in the country of choice. It take up actual residence in the country of choice. Number 2, it suspend the domicile of origin and dependence. It suspend the domicile of origin and dependence. Suspend the domicile of origin and dependence. So what is the importance of domicile? So importance of domicile. Why is it importance of domicile? Why is it important that we study your domicile or we know your domicile? Number 1, determine the country that govern a person will, marriage or divorce. It determines the country that govern a person will, marriage or divorce. Number 2, determine the country to which an individual is supposed to pay tax. To determine the country in which an individual is supposed to pay tax. So you can have the question there. Distinguish between domicile and residency. Distinguish between domicile and residency. Distinguish between domicile and residency. Then Roman 2, domicile and nationality or citizenship. Domicile or nationality and citizenship. So write there solution. Hapa utaandika domicile. Hapa utaandika residency. Then you can put this line like this so that you define very well, okay? You can put that line so that you define very well. So number one, on domicile, you write number one is a place or country, a person intends to stay permanently. Residency is a mere temporary state. It's a mere temporary state. Number two, it is not applied to prove residence of a person. It is one element. It is one element which is required to prove domicile. Number three, a person, family, relation, and movable property are determined by law to ascertain domicile. On the other side, person, family, relations, and movable property are not determined to ascertain residency. Then we also have domicile. Number two, so have domicile and nationality. So have domicile and nationality. So domicile, as usual, is a place person intend to stay. Yeah, those are the differences. Those are the differences. In case you are asking examination, please, you can answer, okay? Like here we are saying it is where a person intends to stay, but there is a temporary place, okay? Like where you live, uko tu hapo temporary unless umenunua hapo nyumba. That's why you can say that's where your domicile is. That okay? But if you have not bought, unanunua nyumba ya kukomboesha, we say you are residence there. Is that okay? Then it is not applied to prove the person residency, but residency is the one element that will prove your domicile. Residency is one element that will prove your domicile. Then a person, movable family relationship and movable property are determined by law to ascertain domicile. Yeah, if you have those properties and whatever, kama ukijenga hapa nyumba Nairobi lazima ulipie nini? Rates, okay? You must be paying rate to Kanjo. Is that okay? Then a person movable relationship is not used to determine residence. We mahali unakaa hata ujui kama landlord analipa hizo nini rates za hizo nyumba unakaa, we uko tu. Is that okay? So residency is not determined by movable property or a family. Then nationality and domicile. Domicile we say is a permanent, where a person resides permanent with an intention to remain there. While nationality is where political system owes allegiance to the state, he has citizenship, okay? Then every person must have a domicile at all time. Yeah, it is possible for a person to have no nationality. Kuna wale watu wanaishi kwa no man's land, hawajulikani wanako nchi gani. Is that okay? Ikifika hapo wanasema mimi niko Tanzania, mimi ni Mkenya, mimi ni Mtanzania, mimi ni Mkenya. So you cannot trace where their nationality is. Then no man can have more than one domicile. Either uko hapa Kenya ama uko Kenya. Is that okay? But you can have more than two citizenship. Kama hiyo ya Miguna. Miguna ni Mkanada na bado anarudi kuwa Mkenya. Is that okay? Yeah, those are the differences. Those are the differences. And that, I think, bring us to the end of that artificial person. That bring us to the end of the right and obligation that we are supposed to study under a natural person, not artificial person, natural person. Then before you go to Mshamaliza hii, have you copied? So before you go to artificial person, we have another group of person. We have another group of person that does not have the right. They are not natural person, but they rely muchly on the rights and obligation of the natural person. They rely muchly. So we said in law we have two types of person, and one we have natural person, and number two we have artificial person. Artificial person. So kuna group ingine hapa katikati. They are not natural person, they are not artificial person, but they rely muchly on the natural person. We call them an incorporated body, an incorporated body, an incorporated body, okay? An incorporated body. Things like partnership, things like trade union, things like football club, okay? They don't have rights like a natural person, neither do they have rights like artificial person, but they rely muchly on the right of natural person, okay? So right there, an incorporated body, an incorporated body, an incorporated body, an incorporated body. An incorporated body, and you say characteristic of this body, characteristic of this body, characteristic of this body, or features. Number one, these are association of individual. These are association of individual. These are association of individual or group of people, or group of people. These are association of individual or group of people who have come together for various purposes. Who have come together for various purposes, e.g., business or charity, business or charity. Business or charity. Business or charity. Business or charity. Number two, their existence depends on their continued existence on the solvency of the member. Their existence depends on their continued. Their existence depends on the continued existence on their solvency of its member. Solvency of its member. Solvency of its member, i.e., does not have separate legal existence, does not have separate legal existence, does not have separate legal existence, does not have separate legal existence. Number three, they are not legal person. Since they are not legal person, they don't have capacity to own property on their own name. Since they are not legal person, they don't have capacity to own the property on their own name. Since they are not legal person, they don't have capacity to own property on their own name. Number four, the property of the association are owned jointly and are held trustee on behalf of the member. The property of association are owned jointly and are held trustee on behalf of the member, on behalf of the member, on behalf of the member. The property of the association are owned jointly by members and are held trustee on behalf of the members. They are held trustee on behalf of the members. Number five, characteristic number five. The contract are entered into by individual members. The contract are entered into by individual members. And for this reason, members can be sued jointly or separately. The contracts are entered into by individual members, and for this reason, members can be sued jointly or separately. Number six. Number six. The liability of its member on third party is unlimited. The liability of its member on third party is unlimited. What do you mean by the term unlimited liability? Yes, what do you mean by the term unlimited liability? What do you mean by the term unlimited liability? Yes, Diana. Yeah, personal property can be sold to pay the debt of the association, okay? Yeah, tunasema the liability of its member to that party is unlimited, i.e. personal asset can be sold to pay for the debt of association. Personal asset can be sold to pay for the debt of the association. Examples of this body, number 1, we have trade union. Number 2, we have cooperative society. Cooperative society. Number 3, we have partnership. Number 4, we have political party. Political parties. Number 5, we have staff union. Number 6, we have football club. Number 7, we have churches. Kama wewe ni pastor, je tu mkienda kukopa pesa ya kujenga na ukule pesa, watakuja kuuza hizo vitu za washiriki walipe hiyo pesa. Is that okay? Yeah, if you are pastor, ukule pesa ya kanisa ya kujenga alafu msilipe, watakuja kuuza hizo pesa za washiriki. And it was always good you keep the register, okay? You keep the register of members, okay? You keep the register of members, because wakianza kufuata wanaanza kufuata one by one, and you cannot say that you are the only one in that church. There must be a proposal that send you maybe to ukope pesa mahali. Is that okay? Yeah, they are not holy, but they depend with members. Number 1 trade union. Anza na number 1 trade union. Number 1 trade union. Trade union. Trade union, and you say it is association of employee. It is association of employee whose principal purpose is to regulate the relation between employees and employer. It's association of employees whose principal purpose is to regulate the relation between employees and employer. Another point, a strike is a cessation hii ya kukataa, cessation or stoppage, cessation or stopping. Strike is cessation or stopping to work as to compel the employer to agree to the demand of employees. So a strike is a cessation or stopping to work so as to compel the employer to agree to the demand of employees. The demand of employees. Characteristic of a trade union. 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 Number 1, a registered trade union can sue and be sued in its own registered name. A registered trade union can sue or be sued in its registered name. Number 2, it can enter into contract in its registered name, e.g. employment. It can enter into contract in its registered name, e.g. employment. Number 3, it can own property in its registered name, but under a trustee, It can own property in its registered name, but under a trustee, It can own property in its registered name, but under a trustee. Number 4, its officers are immune. Its officers are immune. Its officers are immune. Its officers are immune from civil prosecution. For action committed in furtherance of a trade dispute. From action committed in furtherance of a trade dispute. Then can also, its officer is immune from civil prosecution for action committed in furtherance of a trade dispute. Rights of a trade union member. Right of a trade union member. Right of a trade union member. Right of a trade union member. Number 1, right to participate in a lawful strike. Right to participate in a lawful strike. Right to participate in a lawful strike. Number 2, right to vote in election of official. 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 Number 3, right to contest in election of official. Right to contest. Right to contest. Hiyo ya kupigania hiyo. Contest in election of official. And then right to attend meeting. Right to attend meeting. And lastly, right to receive a notice of meeting. Right to receive a notice of meeting. So you can have like 5 minutes. I'm coming back. Tumalizie kwa leo na cooperative society. Yeah, number B, we want to look at cooperative society. Cooperative society. So kama hamna maswali, mimi nitawapatia maswali. Acha nimalize. Cooperative society. Cooperative society, we say. Cooperative society, we say, is association of people. Is association of people is association of people whose primary objective is to promote welfare and economic interest. Interest in its registered name. Interest in its registered name. Another one. Society have their own bylaws and cooperative principles. Society have their own bylaws and cooperative principles. Society have their own bylaw and cooperative principle. Another point. Cooperative society are registered under the Register of Cooperative Society. Cooperative society are registered under the Registrar of Cooperative Society. So types ziko tatu. They are in this way. We have primary. Then we have cooperative union. Lastly, we have Ampex society. Primary society. So when we talk about primary society, we are talking about a primary society with a membership of not less than 10 members, okay? Of not less than 10 members. We are talking about a primary society of not less than 10 members. Yeah, but if two primary society come up, they form a cooperative union. If two primary society come up, they form a cooperative union, okay? Yeah, they form a cooperative union. Example of cooperative union, cooperative bank. It was formed by primary society, primary cooperatives, okay? Yeah, and if two cooperatives union come up, they form up cooperative Apex society. And Apex society, example of Apex society is something you hear called Cusco, Sasra, okay? Yeah, they are just umbrellas that are fighting for the right of cooperative society. Hapo tuko pamoja. So anza number 1, unaweza chora hiyo, then you start number 1, primary society. Start number 1, primary society. Number 1 is primary society. We say, these are cooperative society. These are cooperative society whose property is restricted to individual person like me. So number 1 is primary society. We say these are cooperative society whose property is restricted to individual person like me, whose property is restricted to individual property like me. Naandika hapo registration of a primary society, primary cooperative society, procedure of registration of a primary cooperative society. Roman 1, application for registration is made to the commissioner by at least 10 members. Application for registration is made to the commissioner by at least 10 members. Roman 2, application is accompanied by 4 copies of bylaw into bracket constitution. Application is accompanied by 4 copies of bylaw into bracket constitution. Then Roman 3, payment of appropriate fees, payment of appropriate fee to the registrar, payment of appropriate fee to the registrar, payment of appropriate fee to the registrar. And lastly, Roman 4, a certificate of registration is issued. A certificate of registration is issued. Then you can write there, a member of this society must be a person of at least 18 years of age. A member of this primary society must be a person of at least 18 years of age. Then number 2, cooperative union. Cooperative union. So we say it's a society which is restricted to primary society. It's a society which is restricted to primary society. Another point, register cooperative union. One require a minimum of 2 primary society. To register cooperative union, one require a minimum of 2 primary society. 2 primary society. One require to register primary society. To register cooperative union, one require a minimum of 2 primary society, e.g. cooperative bank, e.g. cooperative bank, e.g. cooperative bank, e.g. cooperative bank. Then number 3, Ampex society. Ampex society. Society. You say it's a society whose member is restricted to cooperative union. It's a society whose member is restricted to a cooperative union. It's a society whose member is restricted to a cooperative union. To register it, one must have at least a minimum of 2 cooperative unions. To register it, one must have a minimum of 2 cooperative unions. Another point, it is the umbrella. It is an umbrella body of cooperative society. It is an umbrella body of cooperative society. And it was established to promote society movement in Kenya. It was established to promote society movement in Kenya. E.g. tuko na SASRA. E.g. tuko na SASRA. SASRA in full mean what? Sacco, society, regulatory authority. Another one tuko na Cusco. Kenyan Union of Saving and Credit Cooperative. Kenyan Union and Credit Cooperative. Then another subtopic hapo. Core principle of cooperative society, core principle of cooperative society. One, core principle of cooperative society. Core principle of cooperative society, number 1. Voluntary and open membership. Voluntary and open membership. Voluntary and open membership. Number 2. Democratic control. Democratic control. So what do you mean when you say democratic control? If you hear something is democrat, what do you mean? Yes? If you hear something is democrat, what do you mean by that? Yeah? Hakuna mtu yote anaweza jaribu. So it means one man, one vote. One man, one vote. One man, one vote. Then number 3, economic participation by member. Economic participation by member. Number 4, autonomy and independence. Autonomy and independence. Number 5, education, training, and information. Education, training, and information. 6, cooperative among cooperation. Cooperation among cooperative. Lastly, number 7. Concern for community in general. Concern for community in general. Concern for community in general. Then we can also check on the rights of a member of cooperative society. Rights of a member of cooperative society. Right of a member of cooperative society, you can say number 1, right to attend and participate in general meeting. Right to attend and participate in general meeting. Number 2, right to vote in meeting. Number 3, right to be elected. Right to be elected to organs of authority subject to its bylaw. Right to be elected to organ of authority subject to its bylaw. Number 4, right to dividend. Dividend. Number 5, right to enjoy use of all facility. Society subject to its bylaw. Number 6, right to access all legitimate information. All legitimate information relating to society. Relating to society. E.g. minutes, annual accounts, etc. Annual accounts, etc. Then advantages of this cooperative society. Advantages of this cooperative society. Advantages of this cooperative society. Advantages. Number 1, mobilization of saving. Mobilization of saving. Number 1, mobilization of saving. Saving. Number 2, Marketing of agricultural product. Number 3, provision of credit to members. Number 4, creation of employment. Number 5, training, information, and education to members. Training, information, and education to members. Number 6, collection, transportation, and processing of agricultural products. Collection, transportation, and processing of agricultural products. So that's all about cooperative union, and that's all about unincorporated bodies. That's all about unincorporated bodies. That's all about unincorporated bodies. That's all about unincorporated bodies, okay? So we are remaining with now artificial person, and where we'll talk about the companies, okay? Corporation, type of corporation. Then we come talk about the companies, limited company, and public company. Then we'll also look at the memorandum of association and article of association and its contact. So that's our next class on Friday. We finish this topic, law of person. Is that okay? Any question? Any question? Then make sure you can be able to come up with the difference between natural person and artificial person. Also, make sure by the end of this topic, you can be able also to come up with the difference between cooperative societies and a company, or a private limited company or a public limited company. Hapo tuko sawa? So unless there is any question that's remaining, but I beg to end there for today.